Liz from Nearly Enough Dice here at Compulsion 2014, feeling slightly repetitive, but don't worry, I'm here with Sarah Newton, who has written Mindjammer, which just sounds absolutely amazing, I must admit. Not that I've heard anything about it before now. However, hello Sarah.
Hello there.
For those who haven't heard before now, who you are, what you've done before today, why don't you give them a kind of a little overview of who you are, what you've written, and possibly some of the awards and accolades that you have been awarded over time.
Cool, will do, yes. Well, my name's Sarah Newton. I'm an RPG and fiction writer. I'm co-owner of Mindjammer Press, which we formed a couple of years ago, principally to publish the new role-playing game Mindjammer and the products associated with it, which we've just launched. Literally, the pre-orders shipped about 2 weeks ago, and the new orders are shipping in May, so it'll be in stores very soon, which is our brand new transhuman science fiction role-playing game. It's the second edition of the game. The first edition was a supplement for Starblazer Adventures, which was a game for the Fate 3rd edition rules. And the Mindjammer first edition supplement actually won an Annie Judge's Spotlight Award back in 2009, which was awesome. Which was my first Gen Con ever, which was very cool.
Very special.
And we've been going on from then to, I wrote the Chronicles of Future Earth setting, which is a dying Earth setting, a little bit Gene Wolfe, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Which was originally for basic role-playing. And we've just announced recently that we're producing that now for RuneQuest 6th edition.
Okay.
And that should be out towards the end of this year or early 2015. And on top of that, I've written Burn Shift, a setting, a post-apocalyptic sort of gamma world setting for Fate Core.
Nice.
A fantasy role-playing game called Monsters and Magic, which is a kind of old-school homage using new school rules and new school concepts.
Okay.
And that allows you to play, for example, a sort of Fatey type D&D game, but plug in your old modules. So all your old AD&D modules, and I played G1, the Studying of the Hill Giant Chief, is one of the best series I played with it. And also use your old spell books and things like
Everything you want.
Yeah, and I guess what else? I've written Legends of Von Glair, which was a Fate 3 fantasy role-playing game. And recently, Leagues of Adventure campaign setting called The Great Game. And most specifically now, which has taken up all my time, Mindjammer the role-playing game. And I do fiction too. I've written a Mindjammer novel, which has been out for a couple of years now. And I'm just finishing up a novel for the Chronicles of Future Earth, which will hopefully be out this year sometime. This has been through beta reader. And I do short stories, I do very short stories, and I'm also a fiction editor of the British Fantasy Society, so we do a quarterly journal of subs from various genre writers around Britain. Which is cool. So keeping busy.
Yes, ever so slightly busy from the sounds of it. And 2 Ennies under your belt. Just to start off with, 2009, you've won 2 Ennies since 2009. That's kind of cool.
That was really nice. We were working on a thing called Three Kings, which was a campaign setting for Achtung Cthulhu, which is published by Chris Birch's Modifius Entertainment. And we just got working on that a couple of years ago. It's the first 2 parts of a campaign called 0 Point, which is a big sort of Cthulhu Nazis epic campaign set during World War II. And that got an Annie last summer, which was a real surprise and very chuffed.
Very nice. So what we're here to talk about today, first of all, is Mindjammer, the role-playing game.
Mindjammer, the role-playing game.
So there will be people out there who heard the title Transhuman Adventure, role-playing space opera, and they're sitting there kind of going, okay, transhuman what? Space opera what? What are these things? Well, I like sci-fi. I watched Firefly. Obviously I know something about it. But what is this? So, for those who don't know what transhuman mean, or possibly even what space opera really means, can you kind of give them a kind of, hey, this is what this is about?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'll start with the transhuman side, because that's the bit that really excites me. I suppose science fiction, certainly over the past 20 or 30 years, people have begun to realise that science fiction is not what it used to be.
No.
Science fiction used to be sort of ray guns and rocket ships and flying around shooting aliens and stuff. Over the past 20 or 30 years, we've begun to realise that we're just about to start taking control of our own evolution as human beings. And the near future, we're already seeing, for example, Oculus Rift headsets and brainwave readers and those kind of things. We're already genetically engineering ourselves, that kind of stuff. I think the next 200 or 300 years are going to be very, very strange indeed. We're going to start really modifying what we are.
Yeah.
And eventually we're going to stop being human beings. We're going to become the next step from human beings, whatever you want to call that. And really that's what transhumanism is about. It's about, if we are in control of our evolution, then what should we become? If we've got a choice, what do we want to be in the future? And transhuman science fiction really takes that and dials it up to 11 on a huge cosmic scale. So what kind of sort of civilizations do you get when you have beings which used to be human but have now got the intelligence of 1,000 people, when they're now vast beings as big as a starship running planets, when human beings can live 1,000 years or 2,000 years, they don't bump into things anymore, they're hyper intelligent, they just don't care about what mere 60-year-olds are up to these days, they've got bigger concerns. And that kind of stuff is I think really cool, because in a role-playing game you can take these issues and you don't have to be po-faced and intellectual at the table, you can have a really good time with them. But you can decide, okay, I'm an awesome, almost immortal, once human being who's now living in the body of a spaceship. What the hell do I do with my time? What's my agenda? And you can play that at the table. So I enjoy doing that. And I think space opera itself, science fiction tends to deal mostly with science topics. Space opera deals with human relations very much. So it's derived from soap opera, so it's situations in which human beings find themselves. Or in the case of transhuman space opera, what transhuman beings do when they find themselves in certain situations. But I think also Mindjammer is not just space opera. You can play games based on the ideas behind the game as well. So I think, for example, one of the big concepts in Mindjammer is a thing called the mindscape. And that's kind of like this vast interstellar internet. It's this technological marvel that hooks the entire interstellar civilization together. Every human being is plugged into it with a neural implant called a mindscape implant. And they can use thoughts to communicate with one another. They can use their mind to control remote devices. And they can upload their own memories. And they can download those memories and also download the memories of other people, including dead people. And this is where it starts to get a bit cool. If you've got a sentient character, a sentient starship character, for example, an artificial intelligence, you can have these as characters. Their personality may be based upon the memories and personality engrams of, say, a dead war hero who died 1,000 years ago in some distant space battle. And that's the foundation of your character's personality. Not a reincarnation, but a character based upon those memories. And the game revolves around, what do you do if that is your character? You've got these memories that belong to somebody else, you've lived 1,000 years, what are you doing as a character? So I think that the mindscape itself is one of those technological themes that you can actually use in a science fiction game. So you can play space opera, but you can also play these science fiction themes in your game.
Mindjammer sounds like it's really malleable for these sort of things. If you want to play it more relationship heavy, you have that option. But if you want to focus more on the other side of the table, then it's there and it has the options available to you. I was going to ask, why Fate Core? But I think you answered the question quite succinctly by discussing being a spaceship who is a 1,000-year-old war hero with the technical genius of everyone in the mindscape. And I think Fate Core really lends itself really well to that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely. So, obviously this is brand new. I mean, pre-orders have gone out, orders are now coming in May?
Well, it's going to be in the stores in May. I think this is the first convention at Compulsion this year that it's actually been available for general to buy. But we are shipping orders. We're taking orders now. Pre-orders started shipping a couple of weeks ago. So this is the launch right now.
This is, wow. So this is really truly the compulsion of innovation. You've got Frankenstein's bodies. You've got Mindjammer, which is everything's just like, these are brand new. And these are really exciting things. Mindjammer... again, I'll be honest with everyone who's watching. I haven't had a chance to read Mindjammer yet. It's on my list of things that I must read. And from the simple description you've given now, it sounds really exciting. It sounds... I mean, the idea of being a spaceship is still blowing my mind. Let alone a spaceship that's a tactical genius. So, for want of a better word, who's this aimed at? But obviously it's role players, but if it's okay. You've got a brand new newbie role player. Can they hop into this? Will they
definitely, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's a modular game for a start. So there is a setting in here, a default setting called the new Commonality of Humankind. but the rules themselves can be used for almost any modern science fiction game.
Yeah.
And I say modern because the themes are modern. People have called it a mix of Traveller and Eclipse phase.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of sensibility. But also because it's modern science fiction, it's a very big interstellar empire. I mean, I can give you a bit of the background to the empire if you want.
Sure, let's hear it.
It's set in the 17th millennium. The heart of the empire is old Earth. It's not called an empire, it's called a commonality. And for about 10,000 years, the commonality was located just very, very close to old Earth. They had no faster than light travel. So all the colonisation happened in generation ships or stasis ships travelling out for thousands of years. And because of the time lag of communication, there was never any big interstellar civilization. So just the worlds close to old Earth managed to keep in contact, but all the thousands and thousands of worlds that were colonised lost contact with old Earth and went their own way for thousands of years.
Wow.
Yeah. So you had a very, very close, small interstellar civilization called the Old Commonality, which was quite stagnant and a little bit like, if you imagine Dune, Imperial China, that sort of thing, a really, really baroque and decadent and stagnant world.
Yeah.
And then mysteriously, I suppose over the course of 10,000 years, humanity began to decline, stagnate, become decadent and fade a little bit. And it was in danger of really the light going out, or going extinct. And then 200 years ago, mysteriously, faster than light travel was discovered or invented, or who knows. And suddenly, human beings are able to go and visit the stars, and they're rediscovering all of these colonies which were lost thousands and thousands of years ago, and welcoming them back into the commonality, if they want to be welcomed. Because a lot of them don't. A lot of them have gone their own way for thousands of years. They've diverged. They've gone different ways, evolutionary. Some of them aren't even human anymore. You know, they've gone so far out there. And the commonality is finding that all of these lost colonies are producing cultural conflict all everywhere.
Yeah.
Some of them are resisting physically, some of them have just got really obnoxious cultures or ideas which the commonality is trying to defend itself against, or is trying to convert to be more like itself. So you have this huge civilization which is in constant conflict. And as characters, you can do anything you like in that milieu. On the very, very edge, there are cultures which are more like 21st century Earth. You know, things that they've maybe even forgotten that they came from the stars. You know, they've been so long isolated.
Wow.
Closer to the centre, there are these very hyper-advanced but decadent transhumans and post-humans.
Arrogant in some ways as
Arrogant, so overbearing. Often, you know, we know better than you.
We're
tell
the
you what to do.
pure,
We're the pure. And everything in between. So there's a lot. You can pick your own agendas, but also I think, and this is really important for beginning people coming to the game for the first time, you can find out the sort of science fiction that you want to play, and just find an area in the commonality which suits you. So you don't have to learn everything. There's not this huge barrier to entry. If you have a particular type of science fiction you like, then the commonality has it somewhere in there. So just you know, the book itself contains just at the very, very end, there are some nice. You can see these samples online and stuff, but there are planets in there.
Just kind
ready-made for you.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can adventure around these. There's some lovely star maps and things of the commonality, and a lot of assistance really. There's an entire chapter devoted to genre, so you can, if you want to play trading campaigns where you get in your old tramp freighter and go shipping goods from star to star, you can do that.
Brilliant.
If you want to play military sci-fi where you're fighting the aliens, you can do that. It's all there. There are also some very alien aliens in Mindjammer as well. There's I wanted to create a game. I mean, I love travel, I love most science fiction role playing. But I wanted to create a science fiction setting that I could believe in. So a lot of the science in here, even though it's a bit stretchy, nothing in here is completely impossible.
It's if this happens and this happens, then this will be real.
That's right. So the aliens, for example, a lot of the real aliens are very difficult for humans to understand.
Yes.
So there are a lot of aliens in Mindjammer who are divergently evolved humans, or uplifted animals, or sentient machines and that kind of thing. But there are also some actual aliens in there. There's one alien called the planetary intelligence. That's basically an intelligent world. Its biosphere has got an emergent consciousness, and it has gone into a symbiotic relationship with a race of human divergent hominids, and they are basically distributing free genetic engineering throughout the commonality. Do they have an ulterior motive? Do they have an agenda? We
Who
don't know.
knows? Let's find out.
So this kind of thing's going on all the way through. So there's a lot of themes that you can hook into. And I think what people are finding is that it's a big enough environment, a big enough setting, that you can create your own stuff. So you can make your own aliens, make your own worlds, make your own histories and so on.
Whatever you want to do, it's wonderful when you can work in such a large scale because there's room for everyone.
That's right. Yeah.
When you get down to countries or even cities, or it gets more difficult to find your spot. When you've got intergalactic travel, there's room. You can make a planet just
That's
between
right.
here and there.
I mean, one of the things I wanted to do when I was... do you remember watching the old edition of Star Trek when they'd go for the planet of the week and it would look like 1920s Chicago or something
Always,
like that?
always.
Or ancient Greece or something like that. And even as a kid I was thinking, well, that's not going to happen.
No.
But, and I thought, well, how could you create a setting where something like that could happen? You know, you could have a world that's based itself off China or ancient Greece. And that's kind of where the commonality comes in. Because not only are there stasis ships which were sent out 10,000 years ago with frozen remnants of American tribes, and they're setting up their own planets and things, but also there's a phenomenon with the cultural conflict that I mentioned earlier, that the commonality is regenerating new cultures and setting up cultures almost like strong points to defend against invasion from outside and so on. So there's not exactly 1920s Chicago, but there are those kind of elements in there.
If you want to have it that you simply end up on a planet that looks like ancient history in its architecture, and yet there's this bioengineered race living there, almost acting exactly the same, you can do that.
Absolutely,
that option's
absolutely,
there.
yeah.
Sounds amazing. Sounds great. Okay, you sold me. I want to buy it right now.
Awesome.
How do I do it? Where do I go?
Well, if you're at Compulsion, you go downstairs to the trade room. Or is it upstairs? I'm completely lost around here. We've got copies in the trade room at Compulsion this weekend. You can also order online. So mindjammer.com will give you all the details you need. It's available in PDF via drive-through.
Yep.
But also if you buy a physical copy either via our web store, online, you get a complimentary PDF, and we're also taking part in the Bits and Mortar initiative. So if you go to your local game store, support your local game store, they'll give you a PDF as well. So
absolutely brilliant. And then people are like, okay, you sound amazingly interesting. I want to find out more about you. Where should they go for more information?
You can also go to mindjammer.com. All the links are there. But there's also I've got a website at sarahnewtonwriter.com.
Awesome.
Where I blog about anything that crosses my path, really.
Anything today.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks so much, Liz. Thank you.